taking some type of a reflection a day after. So, the day after we lost to Liverpool, it's exactly a day after we actually lost to Liverpool. And that game, oh, as a fan, you never want to actually lose to Liverpool, right? These are the games you get excited for. These are the games you never actually want to lose. You never actually want to underperform. And overall, Liverpool, uh, it's disappointing that we actually lost. But one of the players, Diogo Dalot, he came out to actually speak to the media. He came out to actually give his viewpoint. And he genuinely looked depressed, right? Diego Dalot, he came out saying, I'm sorry, right? He never meant for this, right? He's disappointed with this overall result, disappointed that Manchester United have actually lost to Liverpool. And you can see he's trying to actually take some type of accountability, some type of shame, right? Because most players, they won't actually come out to talk to the media after we've lost. So Diego Dalot, he came out and reflected. He came out and accepted that, okay, the performance wasn't good enough. Okay, I wasn't good enough as an individual as well. So we know Diego Dalot, he was a bit poor, right? He was extremely poor. His positional play, but I can't really blame him because he's not a natural left back. So sometimes he'll get caught out. Sometimes he'll get under caught out by a Liverpool player. So overall, as Manchester United, we had to actually buy a left back, and that's the situation we're in, right? Both our starting left backs, they're actually injured. So the board should have actually noticed this problem and actually at least buy a left back, even if he's a bit cheap, but just buy a left back, or even if it's on loan, right? Even if it's a loan deal, you just get in a left back that can actually perform because Diego Dalot, he's not a natural left back. So sometimes situations like that will happen. And I'm not gonna go too deep into Diego Dalot because he's not a natural left back. And also the manager, he came out saying, "Oh, but we've won trophies, so it's not my tactics," right? He's actually saying we've won trophies, so it's not my tactic. But we saw that Liverpool's tactic was to pressure our midfield, right? Casemiro, when he was on for the first half, we saw what Liverpool were trying to do. They were pressuring our midfield, pressuring players like Casemiro, pressuring all our players, right? Casemiro was literally targeted by Liverpool. So, and when he tried to actually pass it to other players, they're running away. So overall, I have to put the result down to the manager. So the manager saying, "No, it's not my tactics. I've won trophies." That's unacceptable, right? You have to take accountability. I think Eric Ten Hag has to take accountability. You have to come out and say, "This is on me and not the players." Because yes, it's on the players, but it's also on the manager. It's a team sport. Because there, you can't just say, "Oh, no, it's not my tactics. I've won trophies." Eric Ten Hag, you have to take accountability. At least Diego Dalot, he's coming out to take accountability. He took accountability. I was poor, right? I'm disappointed. And it was a horrible result. It was a horrible performance by Diego Dalot, but at least we can accept that, okay, he came out and acknowledged that, oh, I wasn't good enough. He acknowledged that, oh, I was underperforming. I was underwhelming. Overall, that's just what you want from majority of your players. them acknowledging that, okay, I wasn't good enough. I wasn't at my best performance. If you were performing extremely well, people wouldn't actually criticize you, right? If the tactics were extremely well, these journalists wouldn't criticize Eric Ten Hag. So Eric Ten Hag, at least, the least you can do is take accountability for the fans. We saw a lot of the fans, they left the stadium. When it was 3-0, they left the stadium. They were upset. So for the manager to say, it's not on me, it's on the players, it's lack of accountability. That's lack of accountability. We want to see our manager just take some accountability. Just show that, okay, I'm disappointed that we actually lost, right? I'm disappointed that we are in this situation. Don't say, oh, it's going to take time, because it's been 3 years, right? It's been 3 years with Eric Ten Hag. So you can't just say, no, my tactics will take time, because it's been 3 years, and now the fans, we're not okay with, okay, we win the FA Cup, but then we finish 8th place in the league. At least be competitive in every competition. It's good that Eric Ten Hag won the FA Cup, but be competitive in the Premier League as well. Be competitive in the Europa League, Champions League. These are the competitions, right? As Manchester United, this is not a club like Burnley where, oh, when you win the FA Cup, that's good enough. You can finish 8th place. You can finish bottom half of the table as long as you win the FA Cup. But it has to improve. The accountability has to improve. Everything about the team has to improve. And overall, I think Sir Jim Ratcliffe, we even saw his expressions. We even saw how he was looking in this game. I think it might be time up for Eric Ten Hag. If performances don't improve, it might be time. I won't even be shocked if Sir Jim Ratcliffe fires Eric Ten Hag this international break, because that game was below average, right? He attended that game. He went to the stadium, and for us to perform so poorly, it's underwhelming. It's underwhelming. It's unacceptable for us to be so poor, for us to be so bad against Liverpool. That's a team we have to go to and at least perform, at least test them, right? Not getting smashed 3-0, not getting destroyed 3-0. That's unacceptable, right? And the manager, I'm just upset that he hasn't taken accountability as well. Right? You're blaming the players. You should also blame yourself. Take accountability. As people, you gotta take accountability. When I mess up in life, I'll take accountability. If somebody messes up in life, you take accountability. And accountability helps you with progress, because once you notice the problems, once you yourself, once you notice the problems, you know how to fix them. So the first step is taking accountability, saying I wasn't good enough. Then you can actually take the steps to improve. That's everyday life for everybody, every person. When you're actually underperforming in something, you take accountability. Okay, cool. My health isn't good enough. This is how I improve it. Okay, cool. My financial situation isn't good enough. This is how I improve it. It starts with accountability. You take accountability for yourself, right? You have to tell yourself, okay, this wasn't good enough. And that's what the manager has to do, right? You have to tell yourself, I wasn't good enough. The tactics weren't good enough. Because, yes, conceding one goal is possible, right? But then losing 3-0, you got to take accountability as the manager. Every person in everyday life, we got to actually take accountability. As human beings, accountability will actually help you grow, right? Because once you realize, okay, this is the problem, now I can solve it like that. That's how you actually grow as a human being, right? Take accountability for yourself. And the lack of accountability from the manager is scary, because right now we can see that, okay, he's not going to change. He's not going to change what he's doing because he's now not taking accountability. He's now not actually noticing the problems. If you don't notice the problems, there's no way you're gonna change them, right? The fans, we noticed the problems against Liverpool. How can the manager not see them? Right? So when you come out and say, no, it's only this player's fault, or it's this, take accountability as the manager. This is Manchester United. And in a few years, we want to be actually winning the league, right? Obviously, this is a period where Ineos have come in, they've invested a lot of money, so I don't see them actually giving the manager too much time. And rightfully so, because when you invest that type of money, you expect results, you expect something, right? They attended the game. So Jim Ratcliffe was at the Liverpool game. So for him to actually travel to Liverpool just to witness a poor performance like that, it's below average. He's obviously upset because you're embarrassing him. He traveled to the game to watch that. And obviously, there's going to be a massive review with Eric Ten Hag. Our board, they're now ruthless. This is not the Glazers where they're going to give you too much time, where they're going to actually watch you just do anything you want. And so Jim Ratcliffe, we have to actually remember that he tried to get a new manager. So right now, Eric Ten Hag is really under pressure, right? He tried to get a new manager, but the manager he wanted wasn't available. He wasn't available. So right now, I think Sir Jim Ratcliffe can pull the plug immediately. He can pull the plug immediately. It won't even take 3-4 days. I think Sir Jim Ratcliffe is going to pull the plug immediately. I won't even be shocked if we have a new manager by the end of this international break, because that's how ruthless I think Sir Jim Ratcliffe is. Businessmen like him, they don't attend an event just to get embarrassed. They don't attend a football game just to get embarrassed. So right now he's under massive review. Massive review. But overall, as a team, as a squad, we have to improve. Like, we see the deficiencies. There's still massive improvement. Yes, our defense, we've improved it with Dalot. Dalot, I won't even blame him. He was one of our best players. One of our best. When he was on the field, he was actually our best defender. I don't know why the manager removed him. Martinez was lacking in that game. Diogo Dalot was lacking in that game. So Dalot, I have to say, he was our best defender in that game, right? Yes, we lost by 3 goals, but you saw it could have been worse without Dalot. It could have been worse without that man in our defense. Dalot, he actually made some tackles. If you watch the game back and just watch Dalot, he actually made some tackles that saved us from 4-5-0. It could have been worse without Dalot, and he was there to actually help this team. He was there to actually help us not get overly embarrassed. It could have been 4-5-6-0. Dalot is the only player that started that I can say, okay, you have a free pass. Zerski, he was a bit poor in front of goal. And overall, the whole team was a bit poor. So these are signs that we're not ready. Yes, we've invested so much money into the defense, but the midfield is also lacking. The attack is also lacking because we saw Rashford, come on, brother. It's the same thing. It's the same thing as last year. We lost narrowly to Arsenal. You're right. And Bruno, he didn't contribute anything in that game. So we are so far away from the team we need to become, right? Diogo Dalot, at least he's taken accountability. He's come out saying, okay, I know what I did. I was not there, but he's not a natural left back. That's why people were screaming, get a left back. We know that our 2 left backs, they're always injured. So you need to get a left back on loan at least. That's what the board should have done, right? And attacking areas, we still need to improve. Midfield, we still need to improve. So overall, Man United, we have a long way to go. The situation is gonna be a disaster if we don't improve. Yeah, after that Arsenal game, whoa, Brighton game, this season will be the same thing. I agree with you. That's why right now top four is written off. Are we gonna get top four? No. Based on how we're playing, it's written off because Liverpool, they're in the conversation. Arsenal, we know they're gonna get it. Man City, we know they're gonna get it. And Chelsea, they're a better team than us. So overall, our season in the Premier League is basically over unless something drastic happens, right? If the board actually get a new manager that can get the best out of these players, maybe I'll change my mind and say, yeah, maybe we'll get top four. Because yes, with a new manager, I think he can compete. I think we can compete, right? If you get someone that can compete, after 3 years, we still don't have a midfield. We still don't have a midfield, and that's the scary part, right? The clear-cut signs are midfield and attack. We're still struggling in those situations, in those positions. And overall, I know a lot of people are disappointed with this, but we have to actually look at the main problem, look at the main issue. And that main issue has to go down to the manager because time and time after again, that's what I'm saying. He'll ruin some of our young players, some of our new signings. Dalot looks amazing. But if we keep the manager, he's going to look horrible after some time, right? After some time. And we've seen this with Erik ten Hag, game after game. You don't change. You don't improve. And it's horrible that he didn't even start Amad Diallo because we saw what Amad Diallo did. He did more than Rashford. He contributed more than Rashford, Amad Diallo, and the manager didn't start him. Those are the scary signs I'm talking about. The midfield as well, how you're choosing the midfield, how you're choosing the team, the substitutions. We need a goal, and then you bring in Harry Maguire. Those are the signs I'm talking about. The manager, you have to take accountability for some of these things. 600 million of Erik ten Hag players, right? And we still can't play the way we want to play, right? 600 million. You spend 600 million. Now it's time to take accountability. This is majority your team. You gave Rashford a new contract. You gave Bruno a new contract. Most of these signings are yours. So this is majority Erik ten Hag's team. So we can't say, no, he doesn't have his players. And last season, he had an excuse for injuries. This season, the injuries aren't that massive. So there are no more excuses. I think the best way moving forward for Manchester United is probably getting a new manager because it's been 3 years, the same situation. We're still in the same things, same conversations, same bad substitutions. And it's going to actually ruin us in the long term. If you keep playing like this in the long term, it's going to ruin us. It's going to destroy us as a club, as an institution. You have to take some type of accountability. Right, we're going step by step. I want us to go step by step with progression, but with Erik ten Hag, I think that's unacceptable. That won't look. Eddie Howe, I don't think he would leave Newcastle. Newcastle, they're offering him a lot of money, but we can see what he's doing with Newcastle. Eddie Howe, we can see that. Okay, some of us, we can agree that Man United, we have a better squad. The overall squad to Newcastle is better. But you can see Eddie Howe, sometimes he'll challenge for top four. And yes, he'll have some ups and downs. But I think he's a better manager than Erik ten Hag because when they face, on paper, we look better. I think he's a better manager than Erik ten Hag because when we face Newcastle, they win the majority of the games, right? Erik ten Hag has only beaten Newcastle twice, and Eddie Howe has beaten us more than 3 times now. So we can see that tactically, he's actually a better manager. You can see he's actually progressing Newcastle in a better situation. with Eric Ten Hag, I think the best move is just for the board to find someone that can align with their vision. If you can find someone that can align with your vision, we know that the board, they didn't want Eric Ten Hag. So find someone that can align with your vision, what you want, the style you want to play, right? And I know Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the board, they have a clear plan, right? They have a clear plan. -4 goal difference. That's unacceptable. You see, so just find someone that can actually get us to where we want to be. If you can find that person to get us to where we want to be, it's going to be better, because right now we're just moving like a mediocre team, like a mediocre club. Because, yes, you've bought the players, but if this isn't the manager you want, you have to move him on, right? It'll be interesting to see what they do in the next few weeks, next few days, because right now we can see that it's not working. Are you gonna fully back Eric Ten Hag till the end of the season and actually throw away this season? Because my thought process is, okay, if you get a new manager that can compete right now, we can save top 4. We can save a lot of things, right? We can save the Europa League, because do I think Eric Ten Hag will win the Europa League? No. Playing like this, we have no chance against teams like Porto. So I'm saying, if you change the manager now, you can save the season. Try and save the season, because that's all we want as fans. Try and save the season. Don't stick with something that isn't working for too long, right? Because right now you can still save the season. Right now you can still save our Champions League hopes. Next season we don't want to be in the Europa League again, because how we're moving, that's what's gonna happen. We might even end up in the Conference League. This season we were meant to be in the Conference League, but at least we won the FA Cup. Now we're in the Europa League. So save the season before it's too late, because it's just 3 games. If you bring in a manager that knows what he wants to do, you can save this season, get Champions League, get a trophy, win the Europa League. So this season is gonna work. Our season is gonna be defined on whether Ten Hag stays or not. Because if he stays, I think our season is over. I don't see us getting top 4. I don't see us winning the Europa League. We might get lucky in the Carabao Cup. That's pretty much it. We can't score. That's also a massive worry. That's also a massive worry. And with managers, you have to create a system for the players to score. Because if you look at Brighton, they're not a great team, but their new manager, he's created a system for them to score goals, for them to actually get something, right? If you create the system for them to score goals, for them to get something, these players will look better, because with Manchester City, that's what works, right? The system gets them goals. Yes, they have a unbelievable striker like Erling Haaland, but that system helps him get tap-ins, right? Sometimes the Pep Guardiola system helps Erling Haaland get the goals he has, those tap-ins. And that's what I'm saying. We need a system. We need a system. Goalkeeper, bro, we've spent so much money and the team is still underperforming. That's what I'm saying. 600 million. What are you doing? What's the direction? What's the plan? And overall, you need to actually take accountability as the manager, take accountability as the board. I'm putting this down to the board now. If you can't get rid of the manager, you've already seen the signs. You've already seen the red flags. If you can't actually get rid of the manager, find someone that can save our season. Overall, it's down to the board. If you're running a business and then your main employees aren't performing and you don't change that, it's down to you. It's down to you, the person that runs the company. So if that company falls down because your employees are not performing, it's down to you because you haven't tried to get somebody better, right? That's the same situation with Eric Ten Hag. It will be down to the board if they don't replace him. If they don't replace him, it's actually down to you, right? This season we can still save it. We can still get top 4. We can still get something out of this season. Don't ruin the players. Don't ruin the things we have, right? Because under Eric Ten Hag, I see him selling someone like Amad Diallo, and that's one of our good players. 36-year-old Milner outplayed us. When we played Brighton, he was outplaying us. And you can see some of our players, they look like they don't care, right? You have to put that down to some of our players. They look like they don't care. And overall, we have to criticize both the players and the manager. 38, that's even scarier. He's almost 40. He's almost 40 years old, and he was outplaying us. When we played Brighton, Milner was outplaying us. So those are the issues we're facing with Eric Ten Hag right now. I think the board, you need to make the decision and move on. The manager, he's had too much time. You've given Eric Ten Hag too much time. Now it's up to you, the board, to get a replacement. Get somebody that can help us get top 4. Get someone that can win us a Champions League. Get someone that can take us to the next level, because right now we're moving like a mediocre team. It's mediocre FC. Eric Ten Hag isn't performing, and we are not getting top 4. We are not going to win the Europa League playing like this. Overall, take some type of accountability as a team, as the board. It's time to make a decision. Yeah, we have big gaps in the midfield. And we just, because the transfer window is closed right now. Ugarte, yes, he might improve us, but we heard what the manager said about Ugarte. Oh no, it'll take months for me to play him. What do you mean months? The next game, this man has to start. He's saying it'll take months for me to play Ugarte. No, the next game, this man has to start. He has to start. No, he doesn't have fitness. He doesn't know my system. No, the next game, Ugarte needs to start. You can't say it'll take months for him to start. Right? The next game, you have to start this man, Ugarte. And this just shows us that Ugarte, he was a club signing, not an Eric Ten Hag signing. Because Eric Ten Hag, he wanted to keep Scott McTominay. He didn't want Ugarte. And now you can see he won't play Ugarte because that's not the play he wanted. It's the board that wanted Ugarte. And now he's saying, okay, it'll take a month for me to actually start him. No, it shouldn't be months. The guy is fit and he's ready. Put him into the next game. That's what I'm talking about. Eric Ten Hag, he's going to waste our good players. Ugarte, you're not going to start him. You're saying it'll take months for me to start him. Yes, the previous game against Liverpool, he wasn't registered on time. But when the manager is saying, no, it'll take months for me to start him, it's ridiculous. That's what I'm saying. Casemiro for months. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What's Eric Ten Hag's plan? What's Eric Ten Hag's vision? We want to know, because we want to rescue this season. I think rescuing this season is the best thing we can do. If you can rescue the season by getting a new manager, that's the best thing you can do, because right now he's not going to play Ugarte. Right now we're going to see the same situations, the same issues with Manchester United. And we heard what Mo Salah had to say. He said, oh, that was an easy game. I didn't expect it to be this easy. That was an easy game. And we can't have that. Your opponent, your rivals are saying, oh, that was an easy game. Mo Salah is coming out to say, oh, that was an easy game. I didn't expect it to be this easy. That's hilarious. That's disgraceful. Your opponents are saying, oh, that was an easy game, as if they were playing Brighton. This is disappointing at the highest level, and it's down to the board. Can you save us from this season, from Eric Ten Hag? I think you need to change the manager right now, because the season can still be saved. You can still save the season. We can still get top four. We can still get we can still win the Europa League if you get a new manager. If you get a new manager, I think you can recover this season. Recover what the team has to do. Recover our season, please, Eric. Please, Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Eric Ten Hag needs to go. He's been given too much time and too much money, but still no results. Still no results. Right, third season, you got opponent players saying, it was easy. Yeah, he needs to go. Southampton. Ooh, Southampton, we might win. Though I've watched some of the Southampton. I think with Southampton, the players will get over the line. Not necessarily the manager. The players will get over the line because we might have too much quality. With Southampton, they're the worst side I've seen so far, right? They are not looking great. So with Southampton, at least we can win. But then the games after that, it's a massive question. It's a massive, massive question. And we know that, okay, November is when we have our hardest games. Because November, I think we play Man City, we play Arsenal. That's when we have our hardest games, November. Yeah, Southampton might have a chance. You never know with how we're playing. We can never even ride out teams like Southampton, right? I thought, okay, we can go to Brighton and win, but that wasn't the situation. Brighton beat us. So overall, even Fulham, the first game against Fulham, we struggled to score, right? So we can see the signs that, okay, even average teams, we can't really win convincingly. You can't win convincingly against Fulham. You can't beat Brighton. You can't at least compete with Liverpool. If this game ended 1-1 or it was a tight game, I think most of the fans would be saying, okay, fair play. At least we went for Liverpool. At least we were competitive against Liverpool. But right now, we got destroyed and it could have been worse. It could have been 4-5-0. It could have been a disastrous performance. It was disastrous overall, losing 3-0 at home. I think right now, the board, you need to make a decision right now. Save the season. It's game over, right? I don't see Eric Ten Hag progressing this team. It's time for you to get someone that can progress this team. And I think the board, you should move in that way. You should have that type of vision. Okay, the man we've employed, he's not progressing the team. Let's actually scout a manager that can. It's up to the board. The fans shouldn't be the ones saying, okay, this is the manager for the team. No, you should be the ones that should scout. Scout the main manager, right? Scout a new manager. Us as fans, we can make suggestions, but it's up to the board to actually realize, okay, this is the main problem. Let's actually solve it. This is the main issue. Let's actually solve it. We're not scoring goals. Let's actually solve it. And overall, the time will tell. Time will tell if Eric Ten Hag stays or not, right? Because by November, we will know the answer. We will know the answer because November, we're playing Man City. We're playing Arsenal. We're playing massive games. So I think by November, we should know whether we have a new manager or not, right? If Eric Ten Hag survives after November, then we know that, okay, he had some good performances against Man City, against Arsenal. That's the only way he's going to survive. If he survives after November, then we've beaten Man City, we've beaten Arsenal. Because I'm telling you this right now, if we lose to a Man City and Arsenal, a lot of fans will get frustrated. A lot of fans will be upset with this. So November might be judgment day for Eric Ten Hag. If he survives, if we see him in December, then we know, okay, he's beaten Arsenal, he's beaten Man City, because that's the only way you're going to survive. That's the only way you're going to actually survive is if you survive November, then we know, okay, the team have turned everything around. Yeah, I don't see us winning against City or Arsenal. That's why I'm saying November will be judgment day. because if he loses those games, it's game over. But I don't see him. Even this month, September, we have a lot of tight games, right? Games where it'll be hard to actually get a result. So if the manager gets results in this month, then November will be Judgment Day, because Arsenal, Man City, these teams will challenge you massively. They will challenge you massively, and overall, that's pretty much Judgment Day, right? If they don't fire him during the international break, then I know November is Judgment Day. November is when they'll actually pull the plug, because right now, international break, I think international break is when you can actually reflect. Okay, let's review Eric Ten Hag again. The first 3 games of the season, you've only won one. And the game you won, it was below average, right? We struggled against Fulham. We got a late winner, a lucky late winner. And overall, if you're reviewing our first 3 games, it doesn't look good. 2 losses and a lucky win. It doesn't really look good. Negative goal difference. It doesn't really look good. So I expect the board to actually review our first 3 games. Review them. Sit down and review. Okay, let's review. The first game, let's review it. The second game, let's review it. The Liverpool game, you don't need to review it. Everybody saw that was below average. That was a disgrace. And overall, Judgment Day this week, let's see if they actually stick with Eric Ten Hag. I think my viewpoint on it is that we need to move on. We need to find a manager that can save the season, but it's up to the board to actually do something and rescue the season. I actually appreciate everybody that tuned in. Let's hope you all have a good day, and yeah, stay blessed.